So I finally got to go see the new Top Gun movie. And very rarely do I walk out of the movie theater and think to myself, I really appreciate the effort. In a world where everything can be CGI'd, when you have a cast, I encourage everyone to go watch some of the behind the scenes about this movie, but when you have a group of people who are dedicated to bringing you an authentic experience, it shows up in so many different ways. And really, the realness of the experience and the realness of the movie, it lifts it above just being your generic action film. And you've got real pilots, you've got real acrobatics, you've got real flying, you've got real G-force. I mean, there were scenes where Tom Cruise was sitting in the cockpit of a flying jet and the G-force was pulling the skin of his face downward. And you can see like these pilots, I guess actors, they're being pushed, they're being pulled, all these different things. And that's something that's very hard, in my mind, that's something that should be very hard to replicate. And if they were just to take these actors and throw them into some pod in front of a green screen to make it look like they're flying, the movie would not have been near as good. And it would have immediately taken you out of the movie because your brain is kind of wired to point out things that are fake, to point out things that are real. And you might be looking at an image that looks real and it looks really good and it looks authentic, but the entire time your mind is going, it's not real, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. And you might not be able to put your finger on specifically what makes it fake, but your mind is kind of wired to point that out. And this is something that Disney has been having a problem with, because if you go back 10, 15 years to some of the earlier Marvel movies, the VFX, like in the first Iron Man, are great. But then you watch the VFX of like the last Thor movie and you're like, what am I watching? It's like TV show level VFX. And you're like, this is supposed to be 10, 15 years in the future. I don't know why it's getting worse and things are taking a step backwards. But whenever you see something that's inauthentic or fake on screen, or you know that they're just standing in front of a green screen, it immediately takes you out of the movie. And you almost can't really help it because that's just what your mind does. But I didn't really feel that way about this movie. I don't know how much was actually real, how much was CGI. I don't know what the ratio was. I don't know what the balance was. But there wasn't a moment where I'm like, okay, this is just kind of stupid. I mean, and that really just goes back to Tom Cruise and the cast and the attempt to bring you an authentic experience. And it does wonders for the movie. It really makes it great. It lives up to everything that made the first movie great. The spirit of the movie is still the same as the older one, but it's new enough, has enough new things in it to make it exciting all over again. As for the politics of it, it's a very high-spirited movie, which I think is important because right now it seems like the spirit of most people, the spirit of America in general, is very low, is very weak. And there just doesn't seem like there's very many happy people anymore. People seem to be very restless and very unhappy. And there's certainly not enough gratitude for what America has done and what it's able to produce and the opportunities that it has provided so many people. And in contrast, you have the portrayal by Tom Cruise. He plays Maverick. He's served in the military his entire life. He loves what he does. He's good at what he does. He's passionate about what he does. And it's like nothing can stop him from doing that. Nothing can stop him from flying. Nothing can stop him from doing what he wants to do. And it is somewhat symbolic because in the movie, he's always rising. He's always elevating. He's always flying above everything else. And when he's flying, that's where he's the most free. He is a free spirit. And when you sit down and watch a movie like this in the theater, it kind of hits you in the face and goes, wow, this kind of feeling, this kind of free spirit, this kind of free feeling, it doesn't seem to exist very much anymore. And it's sad. It's sad. And I wish that we could go back to a time where we can just feel that, right? I want to be able to feel that day to day. I want to be able to feel that on the 4th of July. And it just doesn't seem like people it doesn't seem like they live freely. Like, we live in America, we have liberties, we have freedoms, but I think you know what I'm trying to say, that it doesn't seem like people have very much of a free spirit anymore. And it really highlights that when you watch a movie like this, and it's very high spirited. It's a very high spirited movie. Another thing that I noticed, and I wonder if anybody else did as well, did anybody else notice how diverse the cast was? Am I the only one that noticed that? A few years ago, Marvel/Disney released a movie titled The Eternals. And everybody was heaping praise on this movie because of how woke and how diverse the cast was. I even remember watching an interview that had one of the main cast members in it, and she was going on and on. Well, this is the most diverse cast ever, and this movie's super, and it's woke, and nothing like this has ever been done before, which was kind of weird. I'm pretty sure that The Eternals was not the first movie to have a diverse cast in it. But anyway, people were just heaping praise on this movie. And when it came out, it bombed. And there weren't very many positive reviews about it. There weren't very many people who actually liked watching it. Now, I did watch it, but the politics of it is extremely woke. The politics of it weigh it down. I thought that there was some interesting concepts as far as the story and the characters went, but the wokeness definitely drags it down. And so why does a diverse cast in The Eternals fall short, but a diverse cast in Top Gun work? The thing is that the way that the left has done things, it's all meant to basically tell you that you're racist all the time. Like, that's almost the left's default position, is just to tell you you're a racist. And so they think that you don't like diversity. And they think you don't like it, it makes you uncomfortable, you don't like seeing it. So they feel obligated to force it in. They have to make you comfortable with it. So they force the diversity wherever they can. And whenever it's forced, you feel like you're being lectured. And I don't like going to the movie theater and feeling lectured. And I don't think, and the numbers show this out, when you go and compare The Eternals and Top Gun, people don't like going to the movie theater to be lectured. They kind of just want to be entertained. They kind of just want to watch a movie. But you have this Top Gun movie that comes out, and it also has a very diverse cast, and it works. And it works because it's natural. The reality of it is that diversity, when it happens naturally and it happens freely, is a very beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be forced. I don't have to be lectured about this stuff. I don't want to be lectured when I go to the movie theater. And in the Top Gun movie, they don't go into great detail about the history and the demographics and about like every single character, but it still works because it's natural. And that seems to be something that the left doesn't understand. They just want to go about calling everybody a racist. They want to lecture you. They want to force it down your throat. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work from a political perspective, and it doesn't work from an entertainment perspective either. And just give credit to, really just give credit to Tom Cruise. My goodness, the fact that he is able to stay clear of all of this wokeness and still produce great movies. I think it was Ben Shapiro that said this. I think it was him. He said that Tom Cruise is truly the last great action movie star, movie hero that we have left. And he might be right about that. And that's not to say that there aren't other action stars, but most of these other action stars, they've been just completely corrupt by the woke agenda. They've been completely corrupt by leftist ideology. And when that kind of stuff shows up in their movies, it not only hinders the movie, it hinders like their reputation. It hinders how you view them because, well, it's just another woke action movie star that's trying to force their ideology and identity politics down our throat. And it doesn't work. But when it happens naturally, when diversity happens naturally, it works. And Top Gun is proof of that. So that's kind of my review. I would highly encourage you to go see it. It is a highly spirited movie, which is, I think, necessary when the spirits of people in America just seems to be very weak right now. So I would highly encourage you to go see it. I loved it. My wife loved it. It does definitely live up to what made the first one great.